All right, welcome back everyone to the deep dive. We've got a really juicy one for you today.
Oh, yeah, this one's going to be interesting.
It really is. And, we love diving deep into all sorts of fascinating topics.
Right, whether it's ancient history or the latest scientific discoveries.
But today, we're actually taking a bit of a different approach. We're going to be using a film.
A film, okay. I'm intrigued.
Right, so we're using a film, a romantic comedy to be exact.
Oh, rom-com. Is this
Yeah.
like a guilty pleasure episode or
Or
something?
maybe a little bit guilty pleasure, but more than that, we're using this specific film as like a lens to examine something much bigger.
I see. Okay, I like where this is going.
So the film is called Love Today. It's a 2022 Indian Tamil language film.
Now, that's not something you hear every day on a podcast like ours.
You're right about that, but trust me, this film is super relevant to all of us, no matter where you're from or what languages you speak.
Okay, you've got my attention now. What's so special about this Love Today?
Well, it tackles this really modern dilemma that I think we can all relate to in some way. It's all about how our digital lives, like our phones and social media, are kind of shaking up the very foundations of trust and intimacy in our relationships.
Ooh, okay, that's a big one for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't felt that tension between their online world and their real-life relationship?
Right. And this film takes it to a whole new level. It actually comes from director Pradeep Ranganathan, and it's based on his earlier short film called Apolock.
So he's kind of already explored this theme before. Interesting.
Exactly. And in Love Today, the story focuses on this young couple, Pradeep and Nikitha, who are about to get married.
Okay, the classic rom-com setup, but I'm guessing there's a twist.
Oh, you better believe there's a twist.
Yeah.
So Nikitha's father, he comes up with this challenge for them as like a final test of their love and trust.
Okay, a test for this soon-to-be married couple. What is it, some kind of compatibility quiz or something?
Something, you could say that, but this quiz is very 21st century. It's a phone swap.
A phone swap. Like they have to literally exchange phones.
Yep, for 24 hours, they have to switch phones and see what happens.
Whoa, that's
Oh.
intense. I can only imagine the drama that unfolds.
Well, there's a ton of drama, believe me.
Yeah.
But beyond the entertainment value, this whole scenario raises some really profound questions. Like, in a world where our phones hold so much, like our private conversations, our secrets, even curated versions of ourselves.
Basically our entire lives these days.
Exactly. What happens when that private digital world is suddenly exposed to your partner, like with no filters?
Yeah, that's terrifying and super intriguing at the same time.
Right. So that's what we're going to be exploring today. What truths are unearthed in this film, and what does it all tell us about how we connect and sometimes disconnect in the age of technology?
I mean, everyone's glued to their phones these days, so this feels incredibly relevant.
It really is. And what's fascinating is that Love Today was a huge commercial hit.
Really? So it really resonated with audiences.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Made over 105 crore, which is a lot of money,
Yeah.
especially considering it had a pretty modest production budget.
So it really struck a chord with people in...
It did. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were also some critics who raised concerns about the way certain characters were portrayed and how the film handled some of the sensitive issues.
So it wasn't universally loved.
Not exactly, but that kind of makes it even more interesting, right? We have this commercially successful film that also sparked some important debate.
It definitely adds another layer to the discussion.
So let's dive into the heart of it all, shall we? The phone swap itself.
All right, let's see how this chaos unfolds.
Well, it doesn't take long for things to get messy. Once Pradeep gets a hold of Nikitha's phone, he starts finding some things that immediately make him question their whole relationship.
Oh, red flags already.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He discovers messages between Nikitha and her close male friend, Ravi.
Just a friend, huh?
Well, that's what Pradeep thought. But the messages reveal that Ravi actually has some pretty strong romantic feelings for Nikitha.
Yikes. Not exactly what you want to find out right before your wedding.
Definitely not. And it doesn't stop there. Pradeep also finds messages between Nikitha and her ex-boyfriend, Mama Kuti.
Oh boy, so there are exes in the picture too.
Yep, and not just any messages. They're talking about a recent late-night drive they took together to Puducherry.
Okay, now that's getting a little suspicious.
Yeah, you can see how these discoveries would start to plant seeds of doubt in Pradeep's mind, right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, who wouldn't be freaking out a little bit at this point?
But instead of confronting Nikitha right away, Pradeep decides to up the ante.
Oh, he does. What does he do?
He suggests they extend the phone swap even longer until his sister's wedding, which is a while away.
Whoa, he's really going all in with this, isn't he?
He is. And meanwhile, things get even more complicated because Nikitha's father secretly asks her to try and recover any deleted messages from Pradeep's WhatsApp.
Oh, wow. So everyone's got their own little secret agenda going on here.
Right. It's like this whole web of hidden motives and
And
manipulations.
all because of a phone swap. That's crazy.
It's wild. But while all this is happening with Pradeep and Nikita, there's also a parallel storyline going on with Pradeep's sister Divya and her fiance Yogi.
Okay, so another potential relationship disaster.
Well, Divya sees what's happening with her brother, and she's like, wait a minute, maybe we should do this phone swap thing too.
Oh, so she proposes it to Yogi. What does he say?
He flat out refuses.
Hmm, that's interesting and kind of suspicious, don't you think?
Totally. It creates this instant tension between them because it makes Divya wonder what he's hiding.
Right. Like, if you have nothing to hide, then why not just swap phones? It's almost like a test of how much you trust each other.
Exactly. And it really highlights how differently people approach the whole idea of privacy and trust in a relationship. Like some people are totally open books while others are much more guarded.
I guess it depends on your personality and your past experiences too,
For
right?
sure. So we have these two couples both grappling with the same issue, but reacting in very different ways.
And the phone becomes this symbol of both connection and potential betrayal.
Exactly. It's like this little device that holds so much power in our lives.
It's scary how much control our phones have over us sometimes.
So let's shift gears a bit and see what happens when Nikita actually gets her hands on Pradeep's phone.
Okay, now things are about to get really interesting, I bet.
Oh, they do. And what she finds is way more intense than just a few flirty messages.
Oh, what does she uncover?
Well, first she finds evidence that Pradeep's been watching a lot of porn.
Okay, that's not necessarily a deal breaker for everyone,
Yeah.
but I can see how it would be a problem for some.
Right. It depends on the couple and their boundaries. But what really throws Nikita for a loop is that she finds all these messages between Pradeep and other women, and not just casual chats either.
Like he's full on flirting with them.
Oh, yeah, and more than that, he's actually soliciting photos from them.
Whoa, really? Like sending unsolicited dick pics or something?
Not exactly, but he's basically asking for revealing photos under false pretenses, which is just as bad.
So he's being deceptive and manipulative. That's definitely crossing a line.
It is, and it completely shatters the image that Nikita had of him. Like, she thought she knew him, but now she's seeing this whole other side of him.
I can't even imagine how betrayed she must feel.
And then it gets even worse because she discovers that he has this secret Instagram account.
A secret account? What's he doing on there?
Oh, this is where it gets really messed up. So
Hmm.
he and his friends created this fake female persona.
Like a catfish account.
Exactly. And they were using it to send explicit messages to women.
Oh my God, that's so creepy and wrong on so many levels.
It is. And to make matters even more disturbing, it turns out that this fake account had actually interacted with both Nikita and her sister Shweta.
So he was potentially sending these messages to his own girlfriend and her sister. That's just messed up.
It is. And although Pradeep claims that he wasn't personally the one sending those specific messages, the fact that he was part of this whole scheme to begin with is enough to make Nikita question everything.
Yeah, I mean, the trust is completely broken at this point.
Totally shattered. So as you can imagine, Pradeep is freaking out when he realizes that Nikita has access to his phone.
I mean, his whole secret life is about to be exposed.
Right. And his biggest fear is that this fake Instagram account will be discovered, so he's desperate to get his phone back so he can log out.
He's in full-on damage control mode.
Absolutely. But his attempt to cover his tracks ends up backfiring in a spectacular way.
Oh, how so?
Well, he's talking to his friends about the situation, and Divya's fiance, Yogi, overhears them.
Yogi, the one who refused to swap phones with Divya.
The very same. So Yogi, being completely oblivious to the whole mess, tries to be helpful and offers Pradeep some advice
Helpful advice. About what?
about how to remotely log out of an account using a one-time password. You know those OTP codes you get for security?
Oh, yeah, those can be lifesavers sometimes.
They can be. But in this case, Yogi's innocent advice ends up being disastrous because Ravi, Nikita's friend who has feelings for her, overhears the whole conversation.
Oh, no, he does.
Yep. And he sees this as his chance to expose Pradeep and break them up for good.
I guess all's fair in love and war.
Maybe, but it's still pretty ruthless. So Ravi intercepts the OPP code that Pradeep's trying to use to log out of the fake Instagram account.
He figures out how to do that. That's pretty tech savvy.
It is. And then he uses that access to publicly reveal everything about Pradeep's online activities.
Oh my God, talk about public humiliation.
It's brutal. And of course, it completely blows up Pradeep and Nikita's relationship. Like any tiny bit of trust that was left is just gone.
I can't even imagine the fallout from that.
It's intense. Pradeep confronts Ruvi and accuses him of meddling in his relationship.
I mean, Ravi definitely crossed the line, but Pradeep kind of brought it on himself, didn't he?
Totally. But in his panic and paranoia, Pradeep also ends up accusing his own friend Manny of being behind the fake Instagram account.
Even though Manny had nothing to do with it.
Exactly. So it's like this whole chain reaction of suspicion and accusations fueled by the digital drama.
It's a good reminder that technology can really amplify our worst impulses sometimes.
It can, for sure. But while all this is going on with Pradeep, the film also gives us a bit more insight into why Yogi was so adamant about not swapping phones with Divya.
Oh yeah, remember, he totally shut down that idea.
He did. And it turns out it wasn't because he was cheating or anything like that.
So what was the reason then?
It was actually something much deeper and more vulnerable. He was incredibly insecure about his appearance.
Oh wow, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it's kind of a surprising twist. He explains to Divya that he's been the target of a lot of online bullying and mockery about the way he looks.
People can be so cruel online, it's unbelievable.
It's awful. And Yogi was terrified that if Divya saw all the horrible things people were saying about him, she would reject him.
So he was protecting himself from potential hurt.
He was. And ironically, this honesty and vulnerability is what actually brings him and Divya closer together.
Oh, that's actually really sweet.
It is. Divya realizes that he wasn't trying to hide anything malicious and that he was just scared.
And she chooses to trust him instead of demanding to see his phone.
Exactly. It's a really beautiful moment that shows how genuine communication and empathy can build trust, even when there's been secrecy.
It's like a reminder that sometimes the reasons behind our actions are more complex than they seem.
For sure. But meanwhile, Pradeep is still spiraling. He has a full-on emotional breakdown and seeks comfort from his mother, Saraswati.
Poor guy, he's really going through it.
He is, and his mother gives him some really wise advice about the importance of trust in a relationship.
Wise words from mom are always good to hear.
They are. And it seems like Pradeep starts to actually listen and reflect on his actions.
Like he's starting to take responsibility for the mess he's created.
Right. And we see him taking some steps to make amends. He reconciles with Manny and his other friends.
So at least he's trying to rebuild some of the trust he's broken.
He is. But just when you think things might be calming down, the film throws in another huge twist.
Another one. I feel like I need a scorecard to keep track of all the twists and turns.
I know, right? But this one is really dark and really relevant to the dangers of technology. So a deepfake video starts circulating online.
A deep fake, like one of those videos where someone's face is digitally manipulated to make it look like they're doing something they're not.
Exactly. And this particular deepfake video appears to show Nikita in a very compromising and explicit situation.
Oh no, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I bet this causes even more chaos.
Oh, it does big time. Nikita's father, Venu, sees the video and immediately believes it's real.
Oh man. That's heartbreaking. He doesn't even give her the benefit of the doubt.
He doesn't. He's so enraged that he physically assaults Nikita and disowns her.
That's just devastating.
Yeah.
It shows how easily we can be manipulated by technology and jump to conclusions without even trying to verify the truth.
It's a stark reminder that seeing isn't always believing, especially in the age of deepfakes.
And it highlights the very real harm that these kinds of manipulations can inflict on people's lives.
Absolutely. But amidst all this chaos, Pradeep actually steps up. He finds Nikita, who's completely distraught at the beach, and offers her comfort.
At least someone's there for her in this awful moment.
He is, and he tells her that he and his friends have been trying to track down the person who created the deepfake.
Oh, so they're trying to clear her name.
They are. And they succeed. It turns out that the perpetrator is a guy named Kaushik who works with Nikita.
So he created this deep fake just to mess with her.
Not even that. He did it just for the attention. Like, he wanted to go viral and thought this would be the way to do it.
That's so pathetic and messed up. I can't believe someone would do that just for clout.
It's a sad commentary on the state of the internet. But the good news is that Kaushik is arrested and the truth about the deep fake comes out.
So Nikita's name is cleared.
It is, and she and Pradeep reconcile.
So they actually get back together after all of that.
They do, and even her father, Venu, apologizes for his reaction and for not believing her.
I guess he realizes he made a huge mistake.
It does, but then he reveals something really surprising. He admits that this whole phone swap challenge was a deliberate test.
A test? What do you mean?
Like, he intentionally put them through all of this drama to see if their relationship could survive it.
Seriously. That's a pretty extreme way to test a couple's compatibility.
It is. It's definitely debatable whether that was the right thing to do. But it does kind of make you wonder if there's a point where trying to force transparency can actually backfire.
Yeah, I mean, some things are better left private, maybe.
Maybe. But even though things seem to wrap up pretty neatly, the film leaves us with one big unanswered question.
What's that?
The identity of the person who sent those obscene messages to Nikitha and Shweta from the fake Instagram account is never revealed.
Oh, wow. So there's still a lingering mystery.
There is. It's like this unresolved thread that adds a layer of unease to the ending.
It's kind of fitting, though, right?
Yeah.
Because in the digital world, things are rarely black and white. There's always that potential for anonymity and unanswered questions.
That's a good point. So beyond all the plot twists and turns, Love Today actually offers some really interesting insights into the nature of trust and relationships in the digital age.
Yeah, it takes these very real anxieties that a lot of us have about privacy and technology and blows them up to a cinematic scale.
Exactly. And the film ends with this very clear message on screen. Trust is the foundation for peace in relationships.
It's a simple message, but it's so powerful, especially after everything we've just witnessed.
It is, and it's interesting to look at how the film was received by audiences and critics.
Like, did people love it? Did they hate it?
It was actually a bit of a mixed bag. Love Today was a huge commercial success, like we mentioned before. It really resonated with audiences, especially younger viewers.
I guess they're the ones who are most immersed in this digital world, so it makes sense.
Right. And some critics praised the film for being entertaining and for capturing the anxieties of modern relationships really well. Publications like the Times of India Cinema Express, the Quint DT Next, and OTT Play all gave it positive reviews.
So it definitely had its fans.
It did, but there were also some critics who weren't as impressed.
Where were their criticisms?
Some felt like the film didn't really delve deep enough into the issues it raised, like it was more surface-level entertainment than a profound exploration of complex themes.
That's a fair point. I can see how some people might want more depth.
And there were also criticisms about the portrayal of some of the characters, particularly the male characters. Some critics felt that the film was kind of sexist in its depiction of men and women.
Interesting. So even though it was popular, it sparked some debate.
It did, and that's what makes it so fascinating to discuss. It's a film that got people talking and thinking about important issues.
And the fact that it was so successful commercially means that it really tapped into something that resonated with a lot of people.
Absolutely. And that success is even more evident when you consider that a Hindi remake of the film called Love Ayappa was released in 2025.
Really. So they thought the story was strong enough to translate to a different audience.
They did. It shows that the themes of the film are universal enough to appeal to people across different cultures and languages.
It makes you wonder if these anxieties about trust and technology are only going to get more intense in the future.
I think you're right about that. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more element of the film that I found really interesting, the music.
Oh, yeah. The music can make or break a movie.
It can. And in Love Today, the music by Yuvan Shankar Raja is actually really great, and it seems like it played a big role in the film's overall impact.
So it's not just a catchy soundtrack, it actually enhances the emotional depth of the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of songs in particular, Sakatel and Inai V2, that became really popular.
I'll have to check those out.
You should. And for anyone who's curious to see the film for themselves, Love Today is available for streaming on Netflix.
Oh, perfect. So it's easy to access.
It is. And the satellite rights were sold to Kalinar TV, so it's reached a pretty wide audience.
Okay, so it's definitely made its mark.
It has. But before we go, I wanted to circle back to something we talked about earlier, that whole idea of the phone as a symbol of both connection and potential betrayal.
Right, because it can bring us closer together, but also tear us apart.
Exactly. And there's this one specific image in the film that really captures this tension, the story of young Pradeep and the mango tree.
Oh, yeah. What was that all about again?
So the film shows young Pradeep planting a mango seed, but then he keeps digging it up every single day to see if it's sprouted.
So impatient.
Totally. And of course, because he keeps disturbing it, the seed can't grow.
It's such a great metaphor for how we handle relationships sometimes.
It is. Like, we want instant results and reassurance, and we end up sabotaging things by being too impatient or distrustful.
And it directly parallels adult Pradeep's behavior in the film, right? He's constantly seeking proof and confirmation, and it ends up backfiring on him.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that at the very end of the film, we see that the mango tree has finally sprouted.
Oh, wow. So there's hope after all.
There is. It's like this symbol that even though things got messy and complicated, genuine connection can still blossom if we give it time and nurture it with patience and trust.
That's beautiful, and it makes you think about all the areas of life where we might be metaphorically digging up the seed.
Right, like are we giving our relationships or our goals or even ourselves enough time and space to grow without constantly interfering?
It's a powerful question to consider.
It is. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into love today, I think the key takeaway is that this film, while being a fun and entertaining rom-com, also offers a really thought-provoking glimpse into the complexities of modern relationships in the digital age.
It highlights just how easily trust can be broken and how quickly things can spiral out of control when our private lives are so intertwined with technology.
And yet, despite all the chaos and drama, the film ultimately reaffirms the importance of trust as the foundation for any lasting connection.
It's like a reminder that even in a world saturated with technology, human connection still boils down to those fundamental values.
It does. And it leaves us with a really important question for you, our listener. After witnessing the fallout from this 24-hour phone swap in Love Today, what does it make you think about transparency and privacy in your own relationships?
Like, where do you draw the line between being open and maintaining healthy boundaries?
Does radical transparency actually lead to stronger bonds, or are there some things that are better left unsaid or unseen?
It's a tricky balance for sure, and there's no easy answer.
Definitely not. But maybe this deep dive has sparked your curiosity to watch Love Today for yourself, or even check out the Hindi remake, Love Yappa.
We always encourage you to explore the topics we discuss and see how they resonate with your own experiences.
And as technology continues to evolve and shape our relationships, these conversations about trust, privacy, and connection are only going to become more important.
So stay tuned, because we'll definitely be diving into more of these fascinating and sometimes uncomfortable topics in future episodes.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of love today.
We'll see you next time.